I've been that guy. While you was at home doing this, I was in the club making moves. Slow whining with your future wife.
Would you fight Jake Paul? And there was...
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah.
Is he? Oh man, you look at Anthony Joshua, he looks like a superhero.
Anthony Joshua has confronted Jake Paul on Instagram Live after Paul called him out for a fight. Joshua responded by saying he would fight him, but made it clear that he is focused on his own business and career. He emphasized that he doesn't engage in trash talk and isn't the type to go back and forth with words. Joshua stated, "I'm not a talker like that," making it clear that he prefers action over words despite accepting Paul's challenge. Joshua remained professional, showing that he isn't interested in unnecessary drama, but is open to settling things in theiring.
Good luck to him, man. Do your thing. I'm gonna do mine, he's gonna do his. What more can I say? I don't really need to talk. I just do what I do. I'm not a talker like that. I'm not a talker. I handle my business. That's all I need to know. You tell me in America what type of vim do I need to bring? I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this and that and that and this. Trust me, I'm from the UK. We stand on our business. I'm standing on my business. I'm gonna handle mine. I've never seen someone win a fight via mental games. Like, the way you win a fight is by punching someone more times or punching someone harder than the other person. So it's here nor there, innit?
Eddie Hearn has made it clear that Anthony Joshua is ready to take on any opponent at any time. According to Hearn, Joshua himself has told him that he is prepared for any challenge that comes his way. This statement from Hearn reinforces the idea that Joshua is not backing down from any potential fight regardless of the opponent.
I mean, this is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. But, you know, the only thing that was disappointed was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, you know, LA Olympics for the surfing, 2028, I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at this stage, but I don't know, those two have spoken. I spoke to AJ this morning. He went, listen, of course, I'd fight. I mean, you know, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was...
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah, but he might do it. He might...
Hearn has also emphasized that stepping into the ring with Joshua is a dangerous move. He mentioned that if someone wants to fight Joshua, they would need insurance first, highlighting the level of risk involved Joshua's sheer power and skill make him a formidable opponent, and anyone considering a fight with him must be fully prepared for a tough battle.
Hearn responding to Jake Paul's call out of Anthony Joshua by stating this. He states, Joshua would fight anyone anytime, but warn Paul about the risk. If Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. And let me counterpunch. Eddie Hearn responding to this just confirms that this fight could actually happen. Because, you know, Eddie pretty much, you know, calls the shots. He makes the play. You know, Anthony Joshua's interested. Now, Eddie Hearn is stating that he's interested. So that means, you know, hey, why not wait? Why wait to 26? Why not this year in 25? And that means that he is very comfortable with putting Anthony Joshua in there with Jake Paul. And if I was Eddie Hearn, people, counterpunching this statement, I would too. Because this is, to me, again, like I've told you guys before, when Jake Paul called out Anthony Joshua, I think he overstepped himself.
While Eddie Hearn has shown eagerness for a fight, he has also pointed out that Jake Paul often creates messy situations regarding money. However, despite their past controversies, Hearn seems willing to overlook those issues because Paul is offering a substantial amount of money for a potential fight with Joshua. This financial incentive appears to be a major factor in Hearn's willingness to entertain the idea.
I just seen Eddie on camera saying, look, man, business is business. Business is booming. Nigga, if I'm in third place and I'm getting paid all this, nigga, fuck it. You see, third place it is. Y'all tripping off this shit, not me. I'm good. And Matchroom is motherfucking eating. I'm doing good and Matchroom is eating. So, shit. But it seemed like he was butthurt when he said it because his voice was still cracking like he was gonna cry when he said it. You know what I'm saying? So, why wouldn't Jake Paul reach out to Eddie? Hey, man, look, man, we could draw up a deal, man. We could draw up a deal and I'll give you $50 million too. You know what I'm saying? I can give you $50 million for AJ.
But hold on. So you made me just think about something. Salute to my boy Brent Fox coming through. If Eddie Hearn does this with Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, would that be like the ultimate betrayal from Eddie? Or is it all like fair game?
Jake Paul has criticized Eddie Hearn, calling him two-faced, and saying that Hearn acts friendly in public but behaves differently behind the scenes. Paul's relationship with boxing promoters has been complicated, and his latest comments show his tendency to speak openly about his experiences. This adds another layer of drama to the ongoing talks about a possible fight.
And of course, Eddie Hearn is already preparing his excuse.
Dude, he's preparing it.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's a weasel. He's a snake. Snake guy right there.
What do you mean he's a weasel?
Man, I don't even know where to begin with him, but he's very two-faced. You know, I think off camera, he's like on your side, like, man, you do well, I love what you're doing actually, and like I really respect it, and blah blah blah, and you're gonna take this a long way. And then the cameras come on and he's like, you're not that good, da da da, saying all
so he's
this
selling
stuff.
he's
it's
selling
like a backhand, it's like a backhanded compliment,
yeah,
or a backhanded diss. Like the way he words it and shit, he's like, oh, you're average. Well, average isn't that bad. Well, Eddie, what if I called your wife average? You know what I'm saying?
Anthony Joshua has already proven himself by facing some of the best boxing fighters, including Alexander Usyk, known for his exceptional technical skill, managed to defeat Joshua twice. These fights tested Joshua's resilience and determination, showing that he is willing to face top-tier opponents without hesitation.
Once the belts were finally out of my possession, which I was expecting to win, it just kind of tore me apart. And that's raw emotion live on your screen. Obviously, looking back, could I have dealt with things better? Yeah, of course. But at the time, that wasn't the priority. It was just outpour of emotion.
There are so many athletes we're seeing across gymnastics, cricket, rugby and football that have taken time out of their sport to deal with their mental health before coming back in. Did you at any point in that period think, I need to take an extended break away from boxing before coming back in?
It wasn't the fact I needed to take a break. You know what it was? I actually watched a lot of like fighters, they've taken time out of the game for those reasons as well. And I think, okay, if they've done it, I should be doing it. But I got to look at myself as an individual. And what it is, I feel like if I take time out, I'm letting everyone catch up. And I want to be ahead of the game.
Joe Rogan has long admired Anthony Joshua's impressive physique. He has reflected on Joshua's superhero-like build and incredible strength inside throwing. Joshua's discipline training and athleticism make him stand out among other boxers, and Rogan thinks that his physical capabilities add significantly to his success in a recent episode of his podcast.
Like boxers today, if you look at like Anthony Joshua, who's the heavyweight champion of the world now.
Is he?
You look at him, yeah. He's a English fellow. He's a tank. I mean,
Is he?
Oh man, you look at Anthony Joshua. He looks like a superhero.
Do those guys have as much stamina as these guys do though?
Oh yeah, they do today. They did? Yeah, because the conditioning methods that they have today are just so superior. They understand rest and recovery, and they monitor your heart rate, and you know they're monitoring lactic acid buildup. And
Joe Rogan humorously speculated about Jake Paul's plan to fight Joshua in 2026. Rogan joked that the long timeline might be because Paul wants time to put on all the steroids before going into the ring with a former heavyweight champion. This playful remark reflects skepticism about whether Paul is truly preparing for such a big fight.
That Dubois guy, though, holy man, the way he took out Anthony Joshua.
I know.
Yeah, Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now?
I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's.
So he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Well, they're like,
yeah,
what about
make that
now?
happen. Yeah.
They're like, what about fight him
now.
now? He's like, no, I want to wait till 2026. Like, okay.
To put on weight?
Put all the steroids, every steroid
Whatever
they have.
I would watch.
Snake
Here's
venom,
the thing. I would
scorpion
watch
venom.
it.
Oh, by the way,
Scorpion venom.
Rollo reached out to me, John Rollo, my boy, and he sells this blue scorpion shit. He wants to get you some, Gordon.
I'll have some.
All right, I'll have him send you some.
Get on the
I'll
scorpion.
take some
Quadruple
too.
doses, like a.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens. I'm gonna start slow. I'm gonna find out if I get poisoned.
Yeah, just.
What the f*** are we doing? We're drinking venom from scorpions?
That is weird.
That's weird. He's got the dopest tattoo.
Shannon Sharp has voiced his opinion on the chance of Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua. He stated bluntly that Joshua is way too big for Paul, suggesting that the fight would be an unfair matchup. Many in the boxing world share Sharp's worries, questioning.
Elites. We talk about the elites at their craft. It's not going to happen. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jake fought the closest,
Tyson Fury, brother.
Tommy Paul, the closest person to actually,
Tommy Fury.
Tommy. If you want to challenge someone with the one loss you have. Take him out.
Whether Paul can handle such a strong and experienced opponent. Jake Paul's penchant to call out legendary fighters has frustrated many boxing fans. Critics argue that Paul is not a serious boxer and that his call-outs are more about gaining attention than proving himself in the sport his latest challenge to.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know
he just got knocked out, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo.
Stop the tape now. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. The thing I respect about Jake Paul is his strategic selection of opponent. The retired NBA player, the mixed martial artist who does not specialize in striking, and a almost approaching 60-year-old Mike Tyson. But Anthony Joshua's skills are 1,000 light years ahead of Jake Paul's. Anthony Joshua, Mr. 28 wins, 25 knockouts, 4 losses. Anthony Joshua has been in the ring with real fighters. His resume speaks for itself. I just have one thing to say. Jake Paul, you can't play boxing. Trust me, just stay in your lane.
Anthony Joshua has sparked widespread skepticism, with many questioning whether he truly intends to follow through. Paul's ambitions extend beyond Joshua. He has also expressed interest in fighting MMA superstar Conor McGregor. Paul claims that his boxing skills are improving, while McGregor's abilities are declining with age.
You think McGregor's done?
I think he has to come back and fight, but he needs to win.
Will he fight you?
I don't think he will. I think my skill level is outgrowing his in boxing, and I have the height advantage. He can't beat me, and I think he probably knows that. And time, he's only getting older, and I'm only getting better.
This is another example of Paul targeting high-profile fighters to boost his exposure in combat sports. Jake Paul has also mentioned wanting to fight Dant Tank Davis. However, there is a major weight difference between the two fighters. Davis is a lightweight, while Paul competes at a much heavier weight class.
So a Tank Davis versus Jake Paul exhibition match was going to take place after the Lamont Roach fight, until Tank drew with Roach, leading to a rematch. Now, I'm going to say the unpopular opinion here, but the size difference would have been way too much. I mean, even if Tank brought Jake down to 190 or 200 pounds, he would have still been way too big. I mean, no matter how good a lightweight is, they would have almost no chance against a cruiserweight or heavyweight ranked top 200 in his division. And I'm sure people are going to bring up Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, but Logan is just not a good boxer relative to Jake. You know, Jake's been training for a couple years, he's had over 10 pro fights, and Mayweather was also junior middleweight in this fight, not a lightweight like Tank. But that being said, I'm glad Tank and Jake isn't happening. You know, it would have been a fun spectacle, but I'm not the biggest fan of the exhibition stuff. And instead now Tank and Roach will be rematching in June. You know, the first fight did a little over 260,000 pay-per-view buys, which isn't bad in this market. Roach absolutely deserves a second fight, so I do think the rematch will do far more numbers. And as for Jake, I want to see him fight big-name boxers around his weight class. You know, the Tommy Fury rematch, for example, he's undefeated. The first fight did a little over 800,000 pay-per-view buys. He's around the same age range, so that's the fight I want to see, not the exhibitions. But let me know what you guys think.
If Paul were to take on Davis, he would need to cut a large amount of weight, which could complicate his ability to move back up in size to face Joshua later. One of the biggest complaints of Jake Paul's call out of Anthony Joshua is that Paul has already lost to Tommy Fury, a relatively inexperienced boxer, managed to beat Paul, raising questions about whether Paul is capable of facing a world-class opponent like Joshua.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP in Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world-level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high-level boxers, even though he lost to Tommy Fury, is just laughable. But how long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
This loss has fueled skepticism about Paul's real boxing abilities. There have been rumors that Anthony Joshua is considering retirement, especially as has been dealing with injuries. However, despite these speculations, Joshua has expressed his commitment to continuing his boxing career. He has stated that he has seen his idols reach the peak of boxing, and he intends to keep pushing forward. Shannon Briggs has shared his thoughts on Joshua's potential retirement, saying that Joshua should never stop fighting.
Most recently, we've seen Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua not so long ago. I want to ask you about the heavyweight picture at the moment. Daniel Dubois, the rise of him. We're not sure what Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder's going to do next. It's in a good place because there's undisputed fights happening. There's another rematch around the corner. What was your first of all take on the Dubois versus Joshua fight and Daniel Dubois' coming out party, if you like?
I thought, like a lot of people, I was shocked. I thought Anthony would win coming off the big knockout against Francis, but Dubois has always showed me, and again, I gotta tell you, I was wrong in my judgment of not knowing. I seen him early in his career, and I thought it was, pretty much basic. But what he showed me more than anything is the fact that he has a determination and a will like no other man. I remember after taking my first loss, I went into deep depression. Here, this man bounced back from the Joe Joyce loss. He bounced back from the Usyk situation. He's always bounced back, and he went into the Joshua fight, confident and strong, and did his thing,
Yeah, for sure. What do you think Anthony Joshua should do next? People are saying 50% are saying retire, 50% are saying carry on. What do you think?
For Joshua? Continue on forever. Why ever stops? Don't stop it. Look at Mike Tyson, 58 years old, fighting Jake Paul next week. 58 years old. Why would Joshua stop? Why would if Fury was to lose, never stop fighting? These guys should never stop fighting. That was the biggest mistake. Listen, in this day and age, as long as you're not getting hurt, if you're not having brain damage, why stop? If you win some, you lose some. You know what I'm saying? Keep fighting, because when you can't stop, when you stop fighting, you really stop fighting.
Briggs believes that Joshua still has more to achieve in his work, and that quitting too soon would be a mistake. His words reflect the sentiment that Joshua still has plenty to offer the sport. Jake Paul has frequently been criticized for carefully selecting his opponents. Many believe that he chooses retired or less experienced fighters to build his record without taking real risks. For example, his fight with Mike Tyson was heavily criticized. Since Tyson was 52 years old at the time, leading many to believe that Paul was only interested in fighting aging opponents. Joe Rogan commented on Jake Paul's fight with Mike Tyson, expressing relief that Tyson did not get seriously hurt. He also pointed out that Tyson received a huge payday from the match. While some fans were entertained, others felt that the fight was more of a spectacle than a serious competition.
Jake Paul has just called Anthony Joshua out. Yes, Anthony Joshua, AJ, the two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. This brother called this man out. Oh my God. Now, in a recent clip on Jake Paul's podcast, I think, he basically said that he will beat Anthony Joshua's ass and he has no skill, no chin, and he's too stiff for him. He also apologized to Anthony, saying, Anthony, I'm sorry, we're friends, but I know I can beat your ass. This guy is tapped in the head. Then again, he almost got a fight with Tank. If Tank beat Lamont Roach when they drew, he would have fought Jake Paul. It was lined up, basically. A lot of people get mad when people say he's the face of boxing. These highly rated boxers want to fight Jake Paul. So, I don't know what to say, honestly. But one thing for sure, AJ will never fight. AJ's too classy for that. Way too classy. He respects the sport of boxing too much to fight this guy. Absolute plonker. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and make sure you follow for the most up-to-date and sharpest boxing news and content on TikTok.
MMA fighter Rampage Jackson has also criticized Jake Paul's approach to boxing. Jackson stated that he would only fight Paul if he were tooled, ling that Paul usually takes fights against aging or less dangerous opponents.
Jake Paul. No, but I'm never going to call out Jake Paul again because I saw Butterbean call him out and that looked pathetic. So I'm never going to call out Jake Paul. But I've called out Jake Paul and stuff like that. Everybody calling out Jake Paul. And Jake Paul. I'm not calling out Jake Paul. He won't fight me for another 10 years until I'm too old to get in there. I'm not. Everybody know that's the money fight and stuff like that. But I don't give a fuck.
Just overall, your thoughts on his opponent selection these last few fights?
He's smart. He's smart.
This criticism is consistent with what many fans and analysts have been saying about Paul's job choices. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.